Battle Royale has become one of the biggest buzzwords in gaming, a genre or game mode where the last one standing wins. After Fortnite and PUBG, every game ever made had to have a Battle Royale mode. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Tetris, even Pixel Gun 3D was getting on this. And it all stems from this one Japanese movie released in 2000 titled Battle Royale. The movie is set in a dystopian future where society is on the brink of collapse, with insane unemployment rates and massive increases in juvenile crime. The story follows the main character Shuya Nanahara and his classmates, who are randomly selected out of every graduating class in Japan to participate in the Battle Royale survival program. Everyone gets taken to this massive abandoned island against their will, where the rules are explained to them. You get a pack containing a map, compass, flashlight, food, water, and a random weapon, ranging from guns to knives to tools to joke weapons that are practically worthless. Everyone is also fitted with a necklace which tracks their location on this giant grid map of the island. Every few hours, certain areas become danger zones, and if you're standing in one, then your necklace will explode. There's only one goal: be the last one alive in 3 days' time or die. And what follows is one of my favorite movies of all time. The main cast of characters consists of Shuya Nanahara, the protagonist with no family or much of a life to return home to, who doesn't want to kill anyone and instead spends most of the game protecting his love interest, Noriko Nakagawa, who is often bullied by other girls in her class, but despite this is the kindest person on the island. They don't really stand much of a chance of doing well in the games until they meet and befriend Shogo Kawada, someone who has actually been in Battle Royale before and was brought back to spice up the game. And all of this is being overwatched by Kitano Sensei, one of the class's previous teachers who had to put up with their degeneracy, who just has an incredible performance of being both the funniest character and the scariest character throughout the whole movie.
Hi, konnichiwa!
So many movies like this would just focus on their main cast and maybe a few other characters, but Battle Royale goes the extra mile and manages to include a very large amount of the class in its story. Now, it's impossible to flesh out and establish 40 characters in one movie, so less important characters are reduced to generic movie tropes to lighten the load, which sounds cheap, but Battle Royale manages to utilize this perfectly. There's the guy with the tracking device who's just trying to profess his love to his crush, the delinquent who acts like he can take down anyone but doesn't really have it in him to kill people, the girls in the lighthouse just trying to live out their final days as normally as possible, the group of guys plotting to sabotage the game, and Kiriyama, the relentless silent antagonist who volunteered to be part of Battle Royale and kills everyone, accumulating a massive arsenal of weapons, who shows very early on that he is a fucking deranged psychopath. There are so many side stories and little things that everyone does in this movie that makes the game feel so real and alive. I've watched this so many times, and almost every time I do, there's a scene or moment that I forgot was in the movie. It honestly feels like the main cast only gets about half the screen time. And this is what makes Battle Royale so good. We see how the game affects everyone differently, and not just the main cast. The lighthouse man is like, I'm not even gonna say what happens there. You have to watch this for yourself. The legacy this movie and story has left behind is incredible, and will likely continue to be incredible for years to come. And that is why it is such a shame that they had to make a sequel to this movie, and an even bigger shame that that sequel is complete garbage. So Nanahara becomes a terrorist leader, does a massive terror attack, and declares war on all adults. Japan declines and then makes a new version of Battle Royale, where instead of doing the actual Battle Royale, the students have to go to the island where Nanahara is hiding and kill him to win the game. Now, they have to make sure it's still kinda like Battle Royale, so they incorporate more rules into the game. Everyone is paired with another player, and if the player you're paired with dies, then you die too. The same 3-day time limit is in effect, and parts of the island randomly become danger zones. And what follows is a horrible, boring, and confusing mess. Already, this movie is nothing like Battle Royale. It's more of a shock value war movie that tries to cram as many controversial and bold topics in it as possible. The story is just confusing with all of its different themes and messages, and the structure of the movie is just stupid and hard to follow. Why are there title cards like this is some kind of Call of Duty campaign? There's a reason I haven't mentioned any characters yet, and that's because these characters straight up aren't worth mentioning at all. Like, seriously, both movies spend about 6 minutes setting up the characters and world before they all get put into the game. The first movie uses this time to show some of Nanahara's past, and then establishes Nanahara's friend group as they hang out on the bus. It really shows us the relationship between the main characters, and even tricks you into thinking that the film will focus on more of them. The sequel tries to recreate this but fails, because the main character Takuma is just ignoring everybody. A lot of the characters were clearly inspired from the first movie, but they just don't hit the mark at all because none of them have or will get any decent character development or establishment. Not even Takuma, who's just the angry, edgy protagonist for most of the movie. You can tell they really tried to recreate Takeshi Kitano's performance with a new teacher, but he just doesn't work. Kitano sensei has this character trait where throughout the whole film he eats cookies made by Noriko, who he has this weird father-like obsession with. This guy's whole thing is that he's constantly eating pills. And then he does this. Ultimately, the movie is just not enjoyable to watch at all. Not because it's shocking or anything. No, this movie is just not filmed or edited well. All of the color has been completely sucked out, making the only cool environments the forts constructed by the terrorist group. And by the end of the movie, you've spent so much time in them, they just become boring. The island in Battle Royale was oddly beautiful, despite the acts taking place on it. There's great shots of large open landscapes and lush forests. We see the island during all different times of the day. These shots where it starts raining are especially pretty, but here, everything is just different shades of brown and gray. The combat choreography is also boring, and sometimes it's just painful to watch, especially these scenes where they add this completely unnecessary camera shake. Like, oh my god, this is insane. I will show you how to make a scene from this movie. Drag in the footage, remove the color, then put the wiggle effect on it and max out the speed. Looks pretty good to me. In moderation, this wouldn't be so bad, but combat is like 60% of the entire movie. I'm serious, these fight scenes drag on for way too long. It's clear that they traded a decent story, interesting premise, and possibly a good cast of characters away for sheer shock value and controversy. And even then, it's just not good. I don't care when a character dies and leaves some emotional message because I don't know who this is. The movie has spent almost no time fleshing anyone out. I'm not invested in anyone, so there's just no real weight to any actions or events that happen in the movie, which is just a shame. To be honest, the basic story isn't terrible. Nanahara declares war on all adults, so in a twist of irony, they send children to hunt him down. There's a few interesting themes and ideas mentioned in the movie, but it's all weighed down by the countless flaws, extra random themes, and truly terrible ending this movie has, which features a mythical combination of the camera shake effect and the slow motion that halves the frame rate. What am I even watching anymore? The real tragedy of Battle Royale Requiem is that it exclusively focuses on the main character throughout the whole movie. There's no side stories or really any character development beyond the main cast, which in my opinion goes completely against Battle Royale 1. People are just fighting to survive, and there's something special about that. There isn't some grand cash prize, promise of fame, or guaranteed peace. You just get to return to the same broken world that put you in this sadistic, evil, and ultimately meaningless game. And what makes Battle Royale so special is that the emotions, morality, and actions portrayed aren't solely filtered through the main character. It takes a broader look at how everyone is uniquely affected by the game and their reasons as to why they want to win. Some people try their hardest to win, some people accept that they can't, some people refuse to participate, and some people even try to fight back. You see the transformation of these otherwise harmless high schoolers performing horrible acts of violence, and even though it may seem like it exists purely for shock value, the themes of Battle Royale give this movie serious depth. This stupid, eternal cycle of conflict and lack of trust between older and younger generations, the devastating consequences of authoritarianism, but also the faint spark of hope that always exists, no matter how dark it gets, for a better future and better times. And amongst the film's themes of nihilism, it reinforces that no matter how pointless life feels at times, if you have something to fight and live for that you are truly passionate about, then you will always be able to find meaning anywhere. And that is why I love Battle Royale.